Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. Hope you're doing great wherever you are. Really appreciate you being here. Today we are breaking down basically the welcome message to the foreign terrorist organization leadership from the Trump administration to Maduro, and they welcomed them in true fashion. They sent B-52 with F-18s and an E-2D Hawkeye. So you're saying you're glad that I'm a part of this club. Yeah, and we're going to break that all down throughout this video. We're going to dive straight in to flight radar and we're going to talk about what's going on, guys, because things are heating up on a level that we've not seen before. Again, we've seen this progressively happen, right? If you've been following my videos, you know what's been going down. There's been B-52 flights before. There was a B-1 flight that came within the coast, very close to the coast of Venezuela. The international boundary is about 12 nautical miles. So anything 12 nautical miles or more, it's in international waters. And they are basically just showing Maduro, hey, you're in the foreign terrorist organization now, and things are ramping up. So on the day after his birthday, he's inducted into the Forest Terrorist Organization designation. And here it is right here. Here is the flight. And I'm going to break all the mission down on what would go down if they were to actually go in and schwack targets in Venezuela. So stay to the end of the video for that. But I'll basically progressively step through the hot seat. You're basically in the war room right now, and we're walking through this together. I hope you're learning something. I know I am every time I dive into this with you, and I really appreciate doing these videos with you. So here we go. We got Pappy 1-1. So Pappy 1-1 likely took off out of Louisiana, actually took off out of Minot right there. So it took off out of North Dakota, and it's making its way south. It's making its way to the Caribbean, and that is a one mission. That is a single mission for this aircraft. The fact that it can just go up there, do a 10-hour plus mission, fly the combat mission, and then make its way back is just incredibly impressive. And that's what the B-2 does, B-1 does, and the B-52. So Pappy 1-1, B-52 flying out of Minot, just, big swing and what by the pool, just looking strong. Loaded down, 100 JDAMs is what that thing can carry, and that is just insane. And we're going to talk about the actual, I guess it's not a secret. I'll just let you know right now, it's a JASSM. It's a joint standoff missile, and that is something that can reach out and touch someone, if you know what I mean. But as a part of this strike package, again, when you put a B-52 up there, now it's got electric countermeasures on it, but you want to make sure that it's in a package that can be protected, because some F-16s roll up there and they think that they're going to be a little bit cute, and they do a close pass of the B-52, or God forbid, they open up their 20 millimeter cannon, wanting to be a hero. Maybe they're going off script, or maybe Maduro's just thirsty for blood. So you've got to have something up there to protect them, which is why, and this is what I suspected, these are F-18E models. So the E model is an air superiority fighter. This thing is built to the teeth for air-to-air. So we're talking AMRAAMs, AIM-9Xs, likely rocket-guided anti-drone rockets on this thing, laser-guided rockets on this thing. And so this strike package is something that it means business. And I think it's pretty funny here. Look at this sole little Learjet down here just hanging out. There's a couple of them. They're just think skinny, think skinny. We're not here. We're definitely not here to go up against the B-52. F-18s, look somewhere else. I am not the aircraft you're looking for. So it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4 ship of those aircraft. So 4 ship of F-18s, which makes sense. But here's the wild card. Here's the thing I really like. E-2D Hawkeye, Tracer 01 is up there as well. Tracer 01 is up there hawking the coast. Hawkeye, you see what I did there? Yeah. They're hawking the coast, seeing if any Su-30s or F-16s are going to take off, and then this 4 ship is going to commit. And it looks like, okay, so Rhino 5 and 6 are hanging back. Okay, so Rhino 5 and 6 are hanging back in a cap. And there's a couple things that they could be doing, because there's actually aerial refueling F-18s. So they could be back there be refuelers if needed, or they could just be called in if needed and basically kind of the backup. So they're back here just in case any of these Su-30s take off from these different bases. And here's the Su-30 bases kind of mapped out for you. So there is one in the west side here. And as I zoom out, you can kind of see this is where that cap point was, where that F-18 formation was holding that 2 ship. And then the other 2 ship is going to continue right here along the coast with the B-52s holding their hand. And that's what it's actually called, holding hands, once you're teamed up with your bomber and you're escorting. And then again, second Su-30 base right here. So they're definitely watching and looking, seeing if anybody's going to take off. And that E-2D Hawkeye is what's going to basically give them intel right away, which is massive. That is just, that type of situational awareness doesn't really happen. AWACSs are amazing. They're going to do basically the same thing, but that E-2D Hawkeye up there just for your formation, because a lot of times when I worked with AWACSs, it'd be like a 60 jet, 70 jet strike package up at Nellis Air Force Base, Red Flag, and you have to listen very carefully because they're talking to 20 different formations at once. So having your own little personal AWACS. This is how warfare should be conducted. But again, that formation is going to do this flyby right here. Again, that foreign terrorist designation coming out today, and then this was yesterday evening when this formation basically just did what I would call like the coolest show of force of all time, B-52. If only Maduro was on the side of the U.S., he would just look up and be like, oh, my own private air show. Maybe they would send him an air show just as a thank you, welcome to the club, Maduro. But not the case in this situation. This is basically heating up to a powder keg on proportions we haven't seen before. We haven't seen this type of escalation and intimidation and pressure. So it's also been said that today a Russian aircraft was turned around, a Russian aircraft that was trying to fly in, likely a cargo aircraft was turned around and headed back, wasn't able to land, and that likely they had to divert, and they knew that was a possibility. So you don't want to run these aircraft out of fuel, but it's coming in to land in Venezuela. It was diverted, and so it didn't get to make it all the way there. So just very interesting. But as you can see right here, the formation coming from the north, making its way across, and then getting close to the coast. There's no better sign of, hey, Maduro, we want to talk. President Trump has said that he's setting up potentially some talks. Again, don't know the validity of that, but I did want to read you guys this. This is very interesting. So based on a review of the administrative record, basically, I'll cut out some of the boring stuff. It says that I have concluded, and this is the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, that there is sufficient factual basis to find that the relevant circumstances described in Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act exist with respect to Cartel de los Soles, also known as Cartel of the Suns. Therefore, here's the important part. I designate the aforementioned organization and its respective aliases as a foreign terrorist organization pursuant to Section 219. This determination shall be published in the Federal Register. So the designation goes into effect right now upon publication. So again, this is a big time release, and this is a notice by the State Department on 11/24/2025. It looks like it was dated November 16th, so they were planning on releasing this on this date. And again, everything's strategic. So you're releasing it on this date. You get the B-52 show of force with the F-18s and the E-2D Hawkeye. So things are getting real, and that's just how it's going down. Flight Radar, what a great website. Highly recommend Flight Radar if you have a chance to check them out. And basically, that was the most watched flight, of this month, probably, of this year. But it looks like 75,000 people were tracking that B-52 Stratofortress. Again, not trying to be stealthy. So again, when it comes to what's actually happening here, this is a direct affront to Maduro, saying, hey, Maduro, we're watching you, and we are not playing around anymore. So there you go. It says topping our most tracked flights at the moment, multiple U.S. military aircraft, B-52, F-18, E-2D Hawkeye off the coast, are all operating with active Mode S transponders and tracked via MLAT. So coverage will be variable, but the Mode S transponder, that's going to make them seen by everyone, and they know it. There's actually a switch called the EMIS limit switch in the aircraft that basically shuts off all electronics in and out and makes you basically electronically a stealth aircraft. So they didn't hit that, because again, this wasn't a combat mission. These are testing missions, and actually the Department of War has said that these are nighttime training missions. So again, that's when the B-52s operate the best, but if you want to actually do a combat mission, likely it would be done at night. Middle of the night, Maduro's probably not sleeping really good right now. So as you can see, here's some more US B-52 F-18s fly over the coast near Caracas. So the message is clear against the corrupt dictatorship of Maduro that things are coming to a head, and it's either time to discuss or things could go kinetic. And we'll talk about a little bit what that foreign terrorist organization designation, what that means to you guys. I want you all to know exactly what that means and what options we might see out of the Department of War. Just important things for us to know. And there you go. It was, this is on, what is this? AP, U.S. labels Maduro, foreign terrorist organization leader. Not a cartel per se. So again, it's semantics, obviously. But again, F-18, this was on the wing of the B-52. So that's going to go out there and escort the B-52. Again, this is an E model. It's a single seat loaded down with AMRAAMs. It's got an AIM-9X on the wing as well. And then this one's got 4 AMRAAMs, 2 AIM-9Xs. I would say they're probably flying with 4 to 6 AMRAAMs. You might as well have as many as you can. If you face a drone swarm or something like that, if Maduro is dumb enough to send that up there, you never know. I mean, if he feels very threatened, he feels backed into a corner like there's no other options, then there is a high chance that I would say that something like a drone swarm could be sent up. And then this is the unsung hero. So this is kind of the star of the show in a way. And the B-52s love this because the B-52 flying with this is going to make that B-52 crew feel nice and warm and cozy and cuddly inside, because this is going to detect any aircraft that are blasting off out of those fields that we just looked at, the Su-30s, specifically the F-16s. They're going to detect any type of fast mover, and likely they have their screens just tuned in and dialed to any type of fast mover, or a fast mover that takes off slow, tries to disguise itself as some sort of airliner, squawks a code, maybe that's an airliner code, has its mode S on, and then basically pops out of nowhere and tries to strike the B-52. All that stuff, those tactics, those are like Soviet tactics, which you disguise yourself as an airliner, and then you come out of nowhere. But that's more of like MiG-25, MiG-31, but I digress. As I start to talk about these fighter jets, I get a little bit excited. But this big dish up here, huge ASO radar, basically going to track anything coming out towards those B-52s, which is huge. And again, think strike package when you think of any of these things that might go up against Maduro. And then we got to talk about, I don't know, those leather rugs. Maybe this is what the B-52 seats have. But the B-52, it flies over the coast of Venezuela and approaches Caracas. So this is being tracked globally. This is Cyber Cuba. I just thought this was interesting. Cyber Cuba, very interesting that Cyber Cuba has a website, and they are obviously into defense tracking. So very interesting there. But it does bring up a good point, guys, because when you think of Maduro's regime and all the things that they're going to try to pump into your minds, basically, Operation Southern Spear, what they're going to try to pump into your mind is that Southern Spear is another Iraq or it's another Afghanistan, when really, for everything I see, and even the nomenclature Southern Spear, it means that part of the world, and then the spear part is very surgical, it's very precise. And personally, I think if any type of regime change were to happen, it would be the people in Venezuela rising up and electing an actual elected government, and basically overthrowing the dictator who's been slaughtering people, kind of like Saddam Hussein style, and has basically destroyed their country as far as inflation goes, and basically printed money that's now worthless, and a lot of the country is completely stricken with poverty. So that country has a lot to stand up for. It just depends on, is the backbone there to actually take charge? I don't see any boots going on the ground. So when you see these polls coming out, I don't know, I might even be able to find one. As I usually scan through the Venezuela stuff, there's usually a poll saying Americans oppose this. But it also said the European Union opposes any type of military action. But again, military action is different than full-scale boots on the ground. Full-scale boots on the ground needs congressional approval, okay? When it comes to surgical strikes, in-the-moment strikes, striking drug boats, taking down these drug boats that are literally poisoning kids, you can't wait for Congress to approve that, right? Do we want to wait 12 months for Congress to approve a drug boat? By that point, all those pills are already on the street. So again, when it comes to force, I like to think of where that source is coming from, right? Because Maduro's got massive amounts of hackers that are tuning in and trying to sway the narrative to make this look like a Vietnam or something like that, which it really isn't. Again, surgical strikes, if something changes, and I think that it's leaning more towards that direction, I will be the first one to let you know. The global war on terror, the Afghanistan, Iraq, obviously that was the Bush era, way different. In this situation, I really feel like it's surgical. And if I thought it was something different, I will let you know. If I see any shifts happening, I will let you know, because surgical is the way to go when it comes to this. And speaking of surgical, so this is the JASSM, guys. So I want to talk just quickly about what it would look like in a hypothetical operation if this were to actually go down. Okay, so those Stratofortresses, they would launch from Barksdale or they would launch from Minot, and they would make their way there. That's the B-52. This is what they'd be carrying. So this is the F-35. It almost looks like it's got a two-engine setup, but I think it's just the angle. So this is what the B-52 would be carrying. These are JASSMs, and there is essentially a scalpel. They're a scalpel in the sky that are up there to be stealth. So they can be stealth, they can evade radars. And again, it's been a mainstay when it comes to a lot of the stealth force. So if the F-35 is going to carry anything externally, it's going to be the JASSM, because it is slightly stealthy, although it will reduce the stealth signature. But do you see the way that it goes in? It goes in completely vertical, which is rare. So basically, this thing will go over a target and then dive in because it has the wings and it has the ability to tuck the wings and then go in and take care of business right there. Here's the new variant. This is the AGM 158B-2. I love new variants. And it positions a JASSM for additional security. So think maybe hacking, think maybe some sort of autonomous AI operation, enhanced software, modernized missile control unit, the MCU. Got to get you guys an acronym. I got to do that. So targeting, warhead, integration, production. So all the range, GPS, all the different things that come off this. I like the idea that it's jam resistant. That's huge. 1,000-pound warhead. Awesome. Pinpoint accuracy, probably within 3 feet. And then integration, F-15E. Oh, yes. Thank you for putting that in there. F-16, B-1, B-2, and B-52. So it doesn't say F-35 because it can't go inside the bay of the F-35. So over 3,500 missiles delivered to date. No big deal. So again, the B-52s would be taking off out of their bases in the U.S. They would be flying about 4,000 miles across the mid-Atlantic. They'd get aerial refueled from KC-135s, and they would link up with F-22s and F-35s operating out of Florida, and then they're going to make their way down in a strike package, okay? But these aren't going to have to get as close because, again, B-52 standoff bomber. You got to keep it away. Keep it away from those little grubby hands of those Russian surface-to-air missiles. We don't want any of those surface-to-air missiles, but they're there, and they've been upgraded. Maduro is pleading with Putin. He's on the phone, and he's like, Putin, I know I owe you money. I'm going to get you that money, and please give me some upgrades to my S-300s. So that's obviously happening. Any day. That port that I've shown you guys before, Iranian missile shipments that come in right here, also Russian. If Russia can get a ship in there, my bet is that it does have weapons on it. This is the Iranian shipment port where it's been verified that Iranian arms have been shipped into Iran. So that's what's going to be coming in from Russia as well. But again, these B-52s are going to link up with those F-22s, F-35s, and they'll be supported by EA-18G Growlers, which will be jamming the crap out of everything. That's a technical term. Look it up. Jamming the crap. That's part of probably the briefing of the EA-18G Growler. But it's going to get to within 500 to 1,000 miles, and then it's going to unleash a volley of these things. But then behind it, so the volley of these things are going to strike some very precise targets. So think the HQs of some of the command and control. So headquarters, Maduro's palace, likely those things are going to go down first. And then as these things fly out, behind them will be likely a strike package, F-35s, F-22s, maybe dropping small diameter bombs. And then again, Venezuela is going to try to take down everything they can. They won't be able to touch these stealth missiles here. Stealth missiles, but they're also, they're air-to-ground missiles. And then basically, you can think at that point, if things erupt, then we're going to see an all-out. Maduro's going to think it's an invasion, which it won't be. It won't be boots on the ground. It'll just be surgical strikes all over the place. And if the population has the backbone to stand up, we could see some sort of a Gaddafi-type moment. But again, I think we're moving closer and closer to that as things escalate. And really, this is just going to come down to the wire, guys. I mean, any one of these flights could be the real deal. Again, this flight that just happened last night, so from the time of this video releasing, it just happened. So a few hours ago, and then this happened last night as the time you're watching this video. So again, I will keep you posted. Likely we're going to see a lot more of this. So as you can see, B-52. Looks like some aircraft taking off right there. Interesting. That's not a known Su-30 base, but likely some commercial traffic. So again, the E-2 is going to have to be very, very finely tuned and honed in on what's exactly going on. That was kind of funny, whatever this is right here. What is that? That just cracks me up. Yeah, that's pretty much Venezuela's missiles as they go to try to shoot down an F-18. If this tries to go up, if Venezuela's S-300s try to go up against a Growler, this is exactly what that missile is going to feel like. So that's hilarious. Well, anyway, guys, really appreciate it. Let's see. Let me pop to this view real quick. Thanks so much for helping me grow the channel. It really means a lot. And again, as this situation develops, I'll keep you guys posted. This is a hotbed, obviously. Things could kick off at any moment. I'll do my best to keep you updated as fast as possible. And thanks for tuning in. If you would, follow me on X, follow me on Instagram. My goal is to keep you updated on things you won't find on the mainstream news sources. The corporate news, I don't want you to have to go there. I want you to come to the source, and that's my goal. So thank you so much. Let me know if there's any other subjects you want me to cover, or if you just enjoy these breaking news stories. I'll be doing aviation stories, military tech, some of the latest military tech that'll be coming out soon. But overall, just really appreciate you guys being here and supporting the channel. Please go ahead and watch one of these videos right here, and I'll see you on one of these videos right here. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, signing off.